Okay, so I've previously talked about the Holy Grail of investing, and that is PIV, or price to intrinsic value. Why is price to intrinsic value the Holy Grail of investing? First of all, it's a ratio, price to intrinsic value, and you can get to it using two ways: discounted cash flow or the back of the envelope. But before we proceed, let's first see what intrinsic value is. Warren Buffett says it is the number that if you were all knowing about the future and you could predict all the cash a business would give you between now and Judgment Day, and you discounted them at the proper discount rate, let's say 5%, that number is what the intrinsic value of the business is. In another quote, he says, there's a lot more to intrinsic value than book value and price to earnings ratios. And anytime anybody gives you some simplified formula for figuring it out, forget it. I agree. What Warren is trying to say here is that intrinsic value is nuanced, technical, and relies on the details. And we will get to that later. So, using discounted cash flows, let's execute a very simple discounted cash flow here. In year one, the company generates $100 in cash flow. In year two, 120. In year three, 130. And in year four, 150. Okay? But this is the future value. This is in year 1, 2, 3, and 4. What we want is the present value. So this is how you do it. And you can use spreadsheets, of course, but this is the maths behind it. You have to pick the proper discount rate. I won't go into the details and technicalities. Let's go with 5%. So 100 divided by 105 is the present value of year one. But if you want to get the present value of year two, what you should do is 100 by 105 to the power of 2, and then to the power of 3, and then to the power of 4, because every subsequent year, when you discount the figure, it reduces further and further. Now, these numbers here are net cash flows, and it depends what kind of business we are talking about. Is it capital intensive? Is it non-intensive, like software, most types of technology, except if it's obviously data centers, right? So this is the way you get intrinsic value using discounted cash flows. You need to calculate the cash flow of each year. And by the way, there is also a thing called terminal value, which is a mathematical calculation allowing you to calculate the figure beyond year 4. But I won't go into the details of that. So this is discounted cash flow. People use spreadsheets to do discounted cash flows and get to the present value of cash flows, which is also known as intrinsic value. But there are arguments about whether this is good or bad. The point is, discounted cash flows are not perfect because you need to know what those cash flows will be. I have stopped using discounted cash flows and prefer to make simple heuristic calculations. So heuristic is a way that, let's say it's a rule, it's not perfect, but it helps you. And they are called back of the envelope because it is a calculation you can make on the back of an envelope. Again, it depends on the type of business. I've talked in podcast interviews about how I used this way to assess what Duolingo would be worth. And I said, if it has 100 million users today at 2% paid, and it's still early days, and the total available market is so and so, and the company is investing in developing new products beyond language acquisition and blah, 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 then the company could one day get 500 million users and maybe monetize 6% of them. So 30 million paid at X dollars per year equals how much? And if I take that figure and I say they're going to make so and so from it, profit, and the company will be selling for 30 times earnings, then I can assess a range of values from X to Y dollars. And I know approximately what the company could be worth. So this is the intrinsic value. This is the intrinsic value part of the Holy Grail. But what about the price? If the price is a fraction of this, then you're good. We will be talking more about intrinsic value calculations, ways to get to intrinsic value, frameworks that others are missing in calculating this, traps, etc. in the course. So that's WOP. But of course, check the show notes for links.